Sadie is a high schooler who is struggling to recover after her mother's death. Her father, Will, is a therapist. He has no trouble helping other people with their problems, but when it comes to his personal grief, he shuts down and refuses to talk about what happened. Once Will gets a new client, a middle-aged man named Lester. During the session, Lester tells Will that his kids have been killed by a monster, and then commits suicide. At least it's what it looks like. After the incident, Sadie and her younger sister Sawyer, who has a fear of darkness, start seeing odd things that Lester talked about. Remember the horse drawing meme, in which one part of the horse is drawn perfectly, while the other one looks crude and downright ridiculous? It's a sad but true illustration of the movie-making process. A genius idea doesn't always evolve into a genius script. Some things end up filmed not as planned. Compromises are inevitable. Post-production, too, has its challenges. But sometimes, it happens the other way around, when a talented filmmaker works wonders on a run-of-the-mill script. This is exactly the case of The Boogeyman. The film is based on Stephen King's short story The Boogeyman. It talks about a man who has lost his 3 children. He tells his psychologist about a monster that is lurking in the dark and hiding in the closet. The scriptwriters took this episode and made it a starting point for a new story. After finishing with Lester and his family, the Boogeyman targets the therapist's kids. The expanded story made for an articulate, yet totally average horror tale. And it's not surprising, seeing that the creators thought they were making a film for the Hulu streaming platform. But eventually, The Boogeyman got its lucky ticket to the big screen. Test screenings showed that in addition to keeping its merits as a horror, the film acquired new strengths, among which a creepy atmosphere and a raw truth, with which director Rob Savage, known for a top-notch screen-life horror The Host, conveys an oppressing feeling of detachment that is eating away at a family in the wake of a tragedy. As a result, The Boogeyman, which was supposed to be just another horror, got an emotionally compelling touch to it, which goes hand in hand with Savage's directorial style. The film was shot in extremely dark settings. You don't get to see the monster until 1 hour into the movie. You can only sense his presence through sounds and sketchy movements. All this has a very powerful subconscious effect, instilling you with a vague feeling of unease. It's like with abstract images generated by AI. You think you're making out the outlines of familiar objects, but once you focus on specific details, you realize you're wrong. The Boogeyman is hardly a gem of the horror genre. It's a far cry from the present-day meta-horrors like The Babadook, Hereditary, and It Follows. However, it's an interesting attempt to shake things up in the horror fast food kitchen and serve the audience something a bit more sophisticated than a plate of fast carbs. It's a movie that connects you to its characters and evokes intense emotions. But probably the most important thing is that The Boogeyman is not treating you like you're mentally disabled, which is especially valuable in the era of Netflix and its satellites that tend to sacrifice content for rigid diversity standards.